What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Pride Detroit YouTube channel. I'm Miko, once again joined by my guy Morgan here. And Morgan, we're back. Lions got another win last week, 9-3 on the season. Uh, Probably not a little bit of a confusing game, right? Started off really hot, ended up, the final score was a little bit closer than we thought, but the plays that we got, lined up for today really highlight some of the biggest performers from that game that we just saw the Lions have.
Yeah, and it was two rookies that really stepped up and made a big impact for the Lions. And coincidentally, they both come from the University of Iowa, which interpret that how you will. I'm just kidding. No disrespect to Iowa fans, but yeah, it was a good game for them to step up. I think some things bounced the Saints' way that made the game a little bit closer than the score. I don't think it was that close as the score indicated. The Lions pretty much outplayed them for a good chunk of the game, especially early on. So, yeah, I'm excited to get into it. Talking about some Sam LaPorta and Jack Campbell.
Yeah, man. So let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and jump directly into the tape because there's a lot. Like Sam was, I feel like saying this was a breakout game for Sam is kind of like discrediting a lot of the work that he's put in, so far through the season. Because I think he's been impressive just about every week. But this is, I think, the first game where he got to be front and center. Like he was a big chunk of this Lions offense, right? You look at 9 receptions, 140 yards. This dude just could not be stopped or contained. It didn't matter where he was lined up, doesn't matter who he was matched up against. He just found ways of getting open and finding success.
Yeah, and I love that this particular lineup that the offensive coordinator Ben Johnson's deploying here. I love because you have Laporta split out wide. They move him around a ton. You have St. Brown split out next to Panay Sewell in the short slot there. And then you have JMO at the bottom of your screen and Josh Reynolds in the slot. And then Jameer Gibbs in the backfield. So this is just, you have a lot at your disposal here. And,
Mm-hmm.
Goff is able to see what New Orleans is doing defensively pre-snap. And Sam Laporta runs a really nice route here, Miko.
Yeah, and I think like New Orleans, it felt like they were on their heels a lot early on in this game in terms of being able to really get a beat on what the Lions were trying to do. Obviously, they were beating them up early in the run game, and I think they tried to put a lot of attention, a lot of focus on being able to limit Amon-Ra St. Brown, which allowed Sam to have a lot more space, a lot more room to be able to make plays like this. Again, making catches, getting some yak afterwards, and again, just being a consistent headache throughout this game for them.
Yeah, Miko. And it was an impressive performance from Laporta for several reasons. And obviously, he went for, he had 9 catches on 9 targets for 140 and a touchdown. So that's impressive. But then we're not even going to get into it here just, for time's sake. But Laporta, they trust him to make blocks too. Like, down in the red zone, have them blocking Cam Jordan. So yeah, he's a baller, man. And he's running routes like this. These are veteran routes, and this is part of the reason Saint safety Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, he said he's sought Laporta out after the game and told him, he's like, you're going to be a really good player for a really long time.
I mean, yeah, because this is the type of stuff like you're saying. This is some veteran route type stuff. Again, being able to be a tight end, a rookie tight end, and running away from nickels and safeties in this situation, and again showing those sure-handed catching ability that he's had all season. Be able to again catch this balls, tuck it away, and still be able to pick up a couple yards afterwards. Um, this is the making of another great tight end to come out of Iowa, right? I mean, you start looking at some of the top tight end production. Morgan, out of the top four, three of them played for the University of Iowa in Hawkinson, Kittle, and now Sam Laporta. I mean, if they're not tight end you already, like seriously, somebody get a sign or a plaque or something made and just have it out front.
Yeah, they're definitely tight end you, Iowa fans. Please don't hate me from my comments earlier. You guys are definitely tight end you because just look at the facts. But yeah, man, I love Laporta for so many reasons right now because he's 6'3", 250. He's got these soft hands. He's got, he's really deceptively like agile for being a big dude. So I'm excited to see him grow over the home stretch here.
And I think there are some people like in his draft process, right? And I think it was probably one of the reasons that he kind of fell a little bit in the draft is that he was just 6'3", right? I think you get into this modern day NFL and most teams want a tight end that's 6'5", 6'6", bigger bodied. Um, so that, again, that the idea is that like, oh, they'll be better blocking, they'll be, a bigger target in the red zone. But the Lions, are getting a lot out of Sam Laporta and using, the size that he's at it yes, he may not be 6'5", he may not be 6'6", but at 6'3", he's able to move and be a little more agile than probably your average tight end. And he's still being able to find success in the red zone, like in plays here. And I think it's because, again, with his athletic profile, him being able to go into motion and to be able to get into routes that a lot of other tight ends probably can't get into. It's probably a really small handful that can do stuff like this.
Yeah, they use him as the move guy and in motion a lot. They have him split out wide in the slot, tight near the line of scrimmage, in line. So they really do uh, ask him to do a lot, and that's a testament to Sam as a player on the mental side too, right, Miko? Because you
Yeah.
have to know a lot. He has to be in the know for running concepts and like changes at the line of scrimmage in terms of blocking. Then he has to know his entire route tree and checks with Goff at pre-snap. So it's a lot on his plate from a mental standpoint, and he's really handling it well because yeah, you can tell Goff trusts him, right?
Yeah. I mean, speaking of Jared Goff, I mean, looking at how he kind of again manipulates the defense on a play like this, Goff's obviously had a rough 2 weeks with the Bears and Packers game, throwing some interceptions, having some fumbles. But in a game like this, he showed great command. Again, Laporta was his primary target for most of it, but a play like this where you're able to kind of look the way of your primary wide receiver and Amon-Ra St. Brown, get the defense to kind of pause for a minute, that opens up a window for Sam Laporta to be able to be right there for an easy catch for a touchdown.
Yeah, Miko, good point. And yeah, Goff had a good game. I wouldn't say perfect. There was still some meat left on the bone here and there, but that's going to
Mm-hmm.
happen. But yeah, he made some big time throws today, and that was one of them. And he did a good job of manipulating New Orleans with his eyes. So yeah, I want to give him his credit.
But yeah, Morgan, like you talk about how again him needing to be a really smart player. This is him lined up out wide, and again utilizing that athleticism, utilizing that intelligence to understand how to manipulate the defense and still be able to get open. Um, you know, even when it seems like he's covered pretty well.
Yeah, and another testament to his relationship and rapport with Goff, right? Because I just love, he's a that's a veteran route, Miko. It gets me really excited because watch him get off the line of scrimmage. This is an awesome release right off the gate by Laporta. So this is a really nice release. Stacks up the defender, puts his right foot in the ground, and Goff trusts him. The throws on right there on time, and look at Laporta get up and just snap that ball down. Man, he's feeling himself.
And it's not like, he's using this fancy footwork against a linebacker because then it could be like, oh, okay, slow linebacker doesn't really, not used to be in this type of position. Like, no, this is a safety.
Yeah,
And again, just a quick little jab step to shake him off the line, and all of a sudden he has the leverage and the ability to now snap this route off at the top and make himself a wide open target for Jared Goff here.
yeah, good point, Miko. He's doing this to a free safety. This is Jordan Howden for New Orleans, number 31. And yeah, just again, you can't ask for a better route than that. And good throw by Goff, right on target, where Laporta can go get it. So yeah, I love this stuff, man. And if the Lions have two, like a Laporta and a St. Brown, guys who can consistently move the chains, like on a, got to have it down. And then JMO continues to become like not even, a chain mover for sure, but also a game breaker.
Yeah. No,
Mm.
that's dangerous stuff that we're talking about there, right?
And
And
then
I
the
think
run game.
that's the thing that like I again not to be too nostalgic or look back too much, but that was the thing that I was like looked forward to when they had TJ and Amon Ra was starting to kind of come into his own, where it's like, hey, you got two guys that can operate so well in the middle of the field, and obviously TJ wasn't nearly the route runner that Sam was, but clearly he's still finding success over in Minnesota. This was the type of stuff that I thought you would be able to do to teams and put them into type of predicaments where it's like, hey, there's a pass catching running back in the backfield. You have an amazing wide receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown that can operate in the slot or out wide. And then they added a Jamison Williams that can, again, take the top off of a defense. And you still have the likes of a Josh Reynolds that can be utilized for, routes that are 10 plus yards down the field. You have a Khalif Raymond that can get brought into the mix at any given time. It just becomes, again, a lot for a defense to have to contend with.
Yeah, it's a nice collection of like skill players with varying talents. So yeah, like you said, Miko, it could just need to get everyone rolling. I want to see more touches for JMO. We talked about it before we got on, but yeah, that the end around that he scored on, that's just different kind of speed, man. Like you said,
Magical
to
stuff,
reach,
man.
yeah, reach 20 miles an hour on a 19-yard touchdown.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that feels like stealing. And a play like this also feels like stealing when, again, a guy's been cooking you for a good portion of the game. You start to get into the third quarter. You would have thought, Morgan, that the halftime conversation is, hey, let's not continue to let 87 beat us. And someone on the defense clearly didn't get that message here.
No, Miko. And I want to say this is a busted coverage because the way it looks here is it's actually Panay Sewell's brother, Nefi Sewell, bumps LaPorta and looks like he's trying to, pass him off as if
Mm-hmm.
someone was behind him. But 29, Paulson Adebo, actually, he's a really good corner for them right now, was locked in and looked like he was in man with Josh Reynolds when everyone else was in zone. And yeah, as a result, LaPorta escapes behind the defense, and this is what 48 yards.
Yeah. And I mean, again, like this is stuff that shouldn't happen, right? For a veteran defense like the Saints. But I mean, again, like you're saying, it's definitely some sort of miscommunication because yeah, like you said, Neffy passes this off. Tyrann Mathieu clearly communicates that he's picking up, Gibbs who was in motion. And so there does feel like, okay, well, someone needs to have if it's man, I don't think Neffy passes that off. And clearly the safety isn't in a position to pick up any type of, player coming through his zone or anything like that, or to pick up a Sam LaPorta that's that far on the outside. So yeah, probably some sort of miscommunication on Adebo's end of just being like, oh, I probably was supposed to, pass his man off to the safety and then pick up any type of person that came into his zone.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a busted coverage, and good job by Goff on seeing it, noticing it right away and putting it on the money. And then that's where Laporta really shines too, is after the catch, because again, really deceptively fast and nimble for being a big dude.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a lot of Sam Laporta that we've gotten to, but we still have one play left. Probably one of, I mean, again, not the biggest play, maybe not the most explosive, but one of the more important plays, for this Lions team as they were, again, in position to win the game, right? But they still needed to work some clock, being able to at least ice this game away so that, again, the Saints didn't have an opportunity. And Sam Laporta once again comes up big on a must-have down on a really, again, another impressive route, another impressive catch. And I think it's the perfect, cherry on top for the type of day that he was having.
Yeah, Miko. And again, Laporta being the beneficiary of extra attention being paid to Amon-Ra St. Brown. You'll see as Saint runs the underneath route, two defenders run with him. It's Tyrann Mathieu and then whoever's in man there. And yeah, another really good route by Sam. And a Goff must have so much trust in him already, which is cool. It's cool to see because Goff isn't really one to just throw trust around, right, Miko?
Yeah, no, that's something that's absolutely earned with Jared Goff, 100%.
Yeah, just being a veteran quarterback, and he wants to know you're going to be where you want to be. And yeah, this is a good route. Almost hits him with a Euro step at the top of the route, bends it inside, and gives Goff a nice little safe area to throw it to. And this is huge because this is the second to last first down, with the last first down being I think the play of the game from Goff because he gets moved off his spot, steps up in the pocket, and delivers a good ball to Josh Reynolds to effectively end the game. So yeah, two big time throws. One of them being to Laporta, and this is Laporta's ninth catch of the day, and probably the biggest one.
Yeah, absolutely. But like we said at the top of this video, this isn't just about one former Hawkeye, right? We have another one that we have to highlight. And maybe his game wasn't nearly as sexy. There's not as many, probably as many people talking about it, but Jack Campbell did get his first like official start with the green dot, playing middle linebacker. And I'm gonna be honest, Morgan, going into this game, my only desire for Jack Campbell, because I was a big fan of him in the draft process, wasn't I was a little caught off guard like everybody else that he was picked 18. But my biggest hope for Jack was like, listen, if you're going to get the green dot, just don't look lost out there. And I think he definitely put a lot of that to bed and kind of really looked like he was really in his element, making plays in the backfield, being able to play sideline to sideline. And this first play that we're going to look at, I think, is a really good example of that.
Yeah, and you know, a couple of his stops were against Taysom Hill, and I know everyone likes to joke about Taysom Hill, but it is tough to stop when they run this QB power type package they run in New Orleans because it gives New Orleans an extra blocker. Taysom Hill is a pretty big, powerful runner himself, so yeah, I love this play by Jack here because he kind of gets up in the muck, chop keeps his feet moving, and then gets down sideline to sideline and gets on Taysom Hill, gets him on the ground, man.
Also shows some really great patience, right? As a rookie linebacker, sometimes the eagerness to make a play. We've seen that bite plenty of linebackers in the butt in the past, right? Derek Barnes has been a victim of that at times. Malcolm Rodriguez has been a victim of that at times. Jack shows great patience, lets everything kind of clear out, still keeps his eyes in the backfield, and is able to spot Taysom Hill, chase him down, use his athleticism, and be able to get a really really nice tackle here. Not many of those, not many plays like that were made on Taysom Hill because he was finding a lot of success in the ground game.
Yeah, he was, and it's tough to stop. There's a reason they run this so much, and it's because it works. Their offense hasn't been particularly consistent this year,
Mm-hmm.
but I think this is something they lean on almost like a crutch. Like, okay, if we can't do anything else, we can get 4 to 5 yards of pop with Taysom Hill, and it's annoying. It's like playing your little brother in Madden who
Oh
only
yeah, he's
knows
just
a
gonna
few
keep spamming
plays.
the same play.
Yeah, and but you got to stop it, and a couple times they did, and this is one of them. And I was impressed when I saw this in real time from Jack.
Yeah, I think this is a play again that's like when you're replacing a guy like Alex Anzalone who has been playing lights out this season. This is the type of stuff that you want to see. You want to be able to see that Jack can again be there in the moment, make the right reads, and again not get over his skis and being too excited or just not thinking. Um, and I think we saw, like I said, a really good example of him just being in the moment, being the intelligent player that the Lions thought he was when they drafted him, and he made a number of great plays in the run game for sure.
Yeah, it just looked like it was flowing for him. It looked like he was keying quickly, and then he was just not wasting many steps and just getting downhill or flowing sideline to sideline, making plays. So yeah, it was good to see because that's the vision, right? If you have him and Barnes together for a couple years, you got a pair of pretty athletic, actually two really athletic
Yeah,
linebackers. Like,
I was gonna say, yeah, two very athletic linebackers,
yeah,
and to piggyback off what you're saying about him getting downhill, this is probably like one of my favorite plays of his because
definitely.
this is absolutely the epitome of getting downhill. And when it comes down to as again Morgan, someone who played linebacker, when it comes to getting downhill, like it's anybody that's in your way is going to get it right. And I think that's exactly what we saw here with Jack Campbell.
Yeah, you can see, he triggers quickly, and it's funny because he gets down to the line of scrimmage and kind of just gives Benito Jones a shove in the back, and it moves Benito Jones and I believe that's their guard at the same time. Actually, it's the center, and it moves them both, and then he is able to strike again and pr- get a pretty good hit on Taysom Hill, who's again, I know we've said it a couple times, is a big dude himself. So yeah, this is
Yeah,
this is
and
good stuff.
no, absolutely. Like this is the type of stuff that again that you want to see from your linebacker. That aggressiveness, the ability to again, fight through again, even if he has to fight through his own man, right? To be able to get to a play and refuse to allow, the opposing team to get any type of yards. This is the type of stuff that's really encouraging for Jack and things that I think this Lions coaching staff were hoping that they would be able to get for him. It's easy to see why someone like Aaron Glenn would be excited for an opportunity like this because he just knew that, like, you know what, this moment isn't going to be too big for Jack.
Definitely, Miko. And I guarantee this is something that Kelvin Shepard was very excited about when they watched this film. He was like, in his raspy voice, I could hear him, Jack, that's what I'm talking about, because that's what you want to see from your middle linebacker.
Absolutely. And then, so it wasn't just Taysom Hill, right, that Jack was picking on, because obviously we had two plays back to back where that's the case. One of the tougher matchups and one of the things I was really concerned about was, okay, how would Jack match up when it came down to dealing with Alvin Kamara, whether it was in coverage, whether it was in, you know, Alvin getting a run play. And when Jack got his opportunity, again, another moment that just wasn't too big for him.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you, Miko. I'm glad that there wasn't a ton of Kamara burning Jack Campbell or the rest of the Lions defense. He did have a pretty productive day, but it wasn't anything, too crazy by his standards.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, like we talked about last rep, really quick trigger by Jack, and he does a
Whew.
good job of staying low. He's fast, man, for being a 6'5", 250-pound kid. He is fast, and he gets downhill, and he avoids some of the muck. Like you kind of see him, he's reading, keeps his eyes down in the backfield, and puts a lick. And then we were laughing at it before, but watch him hit Hutch right here. And Hutch was like holding his head, like, dude, whoa, hold on.
Like, like I'm not the enemy. Like, keep all that energy, keep that energy directed the other way.
Yeah, because they had a good play from Hutch here too, helped make this play, but also got maybe had to be checked for a concussion on the sideline after Jack gave him a whack.
Right? Like, hey man, these helmets ain't bulletproof out here. Like I can still feel that impact there, man. But
He
yo,
was
I
excited.
this is a play that I'm right there with you. I really like this play from Jack because, so two things, right? In the draft process, watching some of the tape on Jack, you saw plays like this happen quite frequently, but you would also occasionally see plays where he was just like slow to fire, right? Where you're just like, hey, like the play's already, like the ball's been snapped, like you need to fire off and trust what you see. And I think even going into training camp, you were hearing some of the same things from Aaron Glenn and some of the coaching staff. Is just like, hey, we got to get this player to just, trust what he sees, be okay with making mistakes and things of that nature. To get to this point in the season and see Jack make plays like this, where again, it's fast, it's violent, and he's not second guessing. Like you said, for someone that could be your middle linebacker of the future, this is the type of stuff that you want to see from him.
Yeah, great, all great points, Miko. Like if you watch guys like the Fred Warners, the Demario Davises of the world, who the Lions just played Demario Davis. Those guys, go and they go quickly. There's no hesitation. There's no
Yeah.
deliberation. They're going. So yeah, great point. And that if Jack can continue to do that, then it's his game's going to flourish, man. Because that all of the abilities there and the him wanting to.
And so before we wrap up this video, we do have one more bonus play that we want to throw in here. Not a Hawkeye, unfortunately, but it's finally getting another pass rusher on the field opposite Aiden Hutchinson. I don't think this is something that we should overlook. This was one of two sacks the Lions were able to pick up. And Bruce Irvin is proving that even at 36 years old, I still got some juice. I still got a little juice in the tank, and I can still make plays like this.
Yeah, not a Hawkeye, but we do have a Mountaineer. So shout out West Virginia. I love this pass rush, man. We've talked about it for a couple weeks, Miko. This is a quick win
Yeah.
because Irvin gets off the ball and nasty hands beat. I believe that's Andrus Pete. Just slaps his hands down. This is a good win by several members of the Lions defensive line because Hutch gets a good rush too on the spin. Paschal wins. So
Yep.
it's kind of a party at the quarterback for that rep. But yeah, this was good to see because if Bruce Irving can give the Lions 10 to 12 reps a week of this, that would go a long way of masking some of the issues that we saw on the back end.
Yeah, and I want to again highlight something that you talked about again when talking about Bruce Irvin. One of the things that you and I have been at least stressing a little bit when we've talked about the pass rush, and even when we did the video breaking down the Lions defense, some of the things that we just weren't seeing were technique related. And Bruce Irvin coming out here showing amazing technique to be able to defeat hands, like that's such an important trait, especially when you're talking about getting to a quarterback quickly. Like yes, you need to have fast get off, but even after that, being able to keep an offensive tackle's hands off you so that you can bend a corner and close in on a quarterback is so important. And so again, even if it's Bruce Irvin not necessarily making plays, like the knowledge that he has as a pass rusher is something that I think this Lions team can benefit from greatly.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Miko. I hope Hutch and all of them are just next to him being a sponge because he's been doing it a really long time. Going back to that Seahawks Super Bowl team, think about that, people. Like
Yeah.
that's a long time ago now. So
Well,
oh, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say you dropped a nugget earlier, right? Like
Oh
Bruce
yeah.
Irvin and Kelvin Shepard played high school football together. Like that's how long
Mm.
he's been playing. That one of his former teammates from high school is now his coach. I know that's got to be an interesting conversation in the locker room and with Bruce coming off the field on certain pass rushing sets.
No, for sure. Like I thought about that as soon as I read about it, and I was like, that's pretty interesting. But it makes sense though because I'm glad that connection worked out because I do, like you said, Miko. I think there's a lot that can be learned from a Bruce Irvin, and you know that was a quick win, and if we can get more of that, get James Houston to come back, possibly get C.J. Gardner Johnson, aka CD Deuce, now to come back, then maybe the defense could have a little bit of a better look as we get into January football.
Absolutely. But guys, that's going to do it for this week's video. Those are some of the top plays, highlighting a lot of, again, impressive, route running and catches from Sam LaPorta. Seeing that, again, the Lions may truly have that linebacker in the future in Jack Campbell, and like we said, ending it with Bruce Irvin, and again, the hope that we have a more dynamic pass rush, to again pair with this Lions defense down the final stretch of the season. But let us know in the comment section below, what did you guys think of these plays? Were there other plays that stood out during the course of the week that really stood out to you and that you were really excited about? Also, if you're looking for any more content related to the Detroit Lions, you can always find that on pridedetroit.com. And last but not least, please be sure to hit that notification bell, hit that subscribe button. That way you can be notified every time we upload new videos or go live here over on the Pride Detroit YouTube channel. But with that said, I'm Miko. He's Morgan. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch, and we'll catch you in the next one.